Welcome back to Real Talk. Remember, tonight we are talking about unique love, and you are free to join the conversation via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTemima on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. Next, I want to introduce my two guests, Semakula Mukibi and Brenda Jepkoril. They have been together for 6 years, have a 4-year-old child, but the thing about their unique love story is that Semakula is actually 50 years old and Brenda is 29. Welcome to the show, guys. I know, like earlier on when our audience saw you, everybody had a reaction. I'm sure you get this everywhere. Maybe let's start with you, Brenda.
Yeah, every time I get the reaction from people, like when they see us together, it's always a problem.
Because the assumption at first is that you're not a couple. It must be that.
Yeah.
He's probably either...
Some people think that he's my dad.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell us about this unique love story. How did you guys meet?
So we actually, first met online. So there was this conversation that the world was ending. It was in 2011. I think some people are very young here, maybe they were not there then. And there was this conversation of how people just make conclusions about things without thinking about them. And we started meeting with intellectuals online just to have philosophical conversations around them. And I love thinkers. I love people who think, and that's what I found in him. And every time I just wanted to read what he was saying, we shared and conversed, and that's how I got to really love him.
What about for you?
I'm a sapiosexual. I mean, in the sense that I probably get turned on more by brains than by looks and stuff. And she had a unique way of expressing herself, a unique way of writing. She's a brilliant storyteller, by the way. So she has a way of writing which really touched me. It's a way of talking, of doing things, and, well, things happened. Over the years, probably, we start realizing that maybe it's just an issue of, because I love brains and she loves brains, it's easy for us to get on together. Maybe we didn't really notice the difference between us. I mean, I've met with our child, I've been in situations where I'm walking with a boy and her, and somebody says, "Oh, are you his grandfather?" I'm like, "Oh, that's my son." Yeah. You know, so we've gotten used to it, but I don't think we thought of it at that time. It's something that tended to happen later when other people meet us, when you realize, wait, we're actually very far apart.
Yeah.
But
it's actually
inside here, we don't feel it.
21? 21 years age difference?
Yeah.
And you guys don't feel it?
No,
because it's a connection of hearts, a connection of minds.
Yeah, he's really very young at heart, because when I met him at the beginning, when I just read him, I thought he was a young person. Because when I read people online, I never look at the pictures. So because of his way of expression, I thought he was a young person. But when we met, I still really liked how he looked at the world, and it was not his age. Yeah, so really I didn't see that.
If I had to ask you, especially Brenda,
yes,
what was the initial reaction from your end, especially with your immediate family? Now when you're like, okay, Mom, there's this guy, I've met him, I'm head over heels in love, and I think he's the one.
That was a challenge for a long time. Even I lost close friends because they couldn't approve of the relationship. Like, there was an enmity between me and family, some family members. They really found it an issue that how could I just like go for this guy? And I kept telling them, like, this is just my choice. So for sure, the challenge is always, because I didn't have a problem with the relationship, but the people around me have a problem. And he's a kind man, he's a good man. I love him. I enjoy my presence with him, but people have problems. I didn't understand it.
Okay, what about for you, Semakula? I'm sure being somebody of a certain age, do you have kids maybe from previous relationships?
No, unfortunately, no.
So, but fortunately for her, because then it should have complicated this whole thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? So really for you, there wasn't any...
There were no hindrances.
Absolutely. You were available, she was available, and that was it, period. But did you have opinions from now people in your circle who are within now your age?
To be truthful, I've always been an independent thinker. People have always looked at me as I'm likely to think off the track. I rarely think with the heart. So whatever I do, most people are like, he's done it again. That's it. So I guess I had it the easy way, because people expected me to do anything. So yeah, I was lucky.
Okay, but now with the age, do you ever find yourselves perhaps having, differences in opinion, maybe in how you look at issues and situations? Because of, again, you can't discount 20 years. That's a different generation altogether. Maybe let's start with you, Brenda.
What I've noticed is that, like with age, there are things that he will have a better understanding than I do. And in the same way, there are things that I'll have a better understanding than he does. And we have a way that we communicate that I feel. In a way, if I find that there's something that he doesn't understand from I give the background of it, like the story of it. And that's the same thing he does, which really bridges a lot. It becomes like a learning process that we don't see it as an age thing, but just as a relationship thing, yeah.
And what about on the parenting? Do you guys come from the same school of thought when it comes to the parenting?
When we met, we didn't think so. When we got the kid, we discovered we do agree on a lot of things on how the kid should be brought up, what kind of life they should lead, what kind of examples we should give. Of course, there are a few things here and there which, well, we don't agree with. I think the trick is communication. Between the three of us, me, her, and the child, there's always, as long as we maintain those lines of communications, it works out.
It works out.
The moment, I think, in my opinion, the day we stop communicating is when now the 20 years or 20 plus years will come into this. But until then, I think we're good. It works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me rope in Benjamin here, because again here this is a unique case of relationship. 20 years it's a huge gap. Yet looking at them, they've found their rhythm.
I think, Tamima, what you're looking at is they told you their connection was first intellectual. They liked the way each other thinks. She said, I like the way he reasons. He's young at heart. He has today's world view. What the young generation doesn't like with old people is they're old school. They don't have modern ideas. They think we should remain this way. She's saying he was so versatile, he could flow with my group. I was flowing him. Number two, they told you that there's such a thing as mental age, psychological age, and chronological age. When people are this number of years, does not mean mentally they are that old. Birthdays don't mean people are growing up. They just mean they are growing old. So years don't show you growth. They just show you that your years are going. So they could be those many years apart, but psychologically they are closer apart. Yeah. So psychological age is the level of thinking, level of maturity. So for me, what I've detected within, they say we could connect in a mature way. I find her mature, I find him mature. And he has said a very key thing that maintains relationship, either between age mates or between intergenerational marriages we are looking at here, is communication. Do you really get each other? What I was going to say about the previous couple was about what we call psychological distance. Do they have a psychological distance? If they have a psychological connection, any relationship can work, because you could be the same, both of you 21 or both of you 75, and you're not communicating. So as long as there's chemistry and communication, the thing can be worked out. So for me, theirs is an illustration of commitment.
What I like, Benjamin, is that with all the couples that we've seen, you've been able to literally just, zone into that one thing that connects these two people.
Maybe one question you can throw to him: what had taken you so long?
Maybe, tell us, Semakula. You've never been married before?
I never thought about it.
Yeah.
It's not something that was in a list of priorities. I lived life. If I had reached this age without getting married, yeah, it would have been good if you get married. It never just hit my head until I met her, perhaps.
So you were waiting for her?
Maybe.